So I want to finalize our conversation about Donald Trump getting impeached a second time. As we've been filming, the House has started to move forward with what I described earlier, an initial proposal for the 25th Amendment to be invoked, every indication that that is not going to happen, and then impeachment will be subsequently the path forward. We also spoke earlier about how some Republican officials now say that it's time for Trump to go, even that he should be impeached. We talked about Pat Toomey saying Trump should leave. We talked about Chris Christie saying that Trump's inciting of the violent insurrection is certainly impeachable. But where is the public on this? That's the next question. And we do have new polling on that. According to a new Reuters Ipsos poll, 57% of Americans want Donald Trump to be immediately removed from office. This is sort of like a do not pass go, do not collect $200 type of thing. And it is, of course, directly related to his encouragement of the protest last week, which escalated into a deadly riot inside the U.S. Capitol building. Most of the people who want Trump removed are still Democrats. Republicans remain much more supportive of Donald Trump. And 7 out of 10 of those who voted for Trump in November oppose his removal. But again, when it's only 70% of Republicans who are against the removal, you end up with a situation where, led by Democrats, with many independents and some Republicans, the majority of the country, it's not disapproves of the job Trump is doing. It's believes that Donald Trump should be removed. So there's a few different aspects to this. One, yes, it's notable that so many people in the country want the president removed. But what's the other side of that? It's the same as what we've been saying when we've looked at Donald Trump's approval over the last 4 years. How is it this low? In other words, it should be dramatically more than slightly more than half of Americans wanting the president removed. The exact number right now is 57%. When you blend Democrats, independents, and Republicans, you end up with about 57% of Americans wanting Trump to leave office. What about the rest of them? And it's disappointingly low. And I think it's important to remember, you know, we've talked today about this idea that impeachment could be divisive or whatever the case, and how I think those are really bad arguments. I think there's another aspect to this that's important to broach or to bring up once again. Impeachment is not about punishment. Impeachment is what you do when the facts say that it's warranted. And if the facts say that it's warranted, it must be done. And one of the reasons I've seen some be hesitant to support impeachment is they don't believe it would be a sufficient punishment because Trump is leaving anyway. I think that that's both not the point and also irrelevant, because there is a mechanism through which the Senate can vote. If the House impeaches, the Senate can vote to convict, but they can also vote to strip Trump of the ability to run in the future. And that requires only a simple majority. And there are more things at stake. There is Trump's $1 million a year ex-presidential travel budget. There are other things that are at play here. So for the folks saying the impeachment wouldn't be a strict enough it wouldn't really be much of a punishment for Trump at this point. Number one, I disagree in that being impeached, and particularly if he was convicted or stripped of the ability to run again, would be humiliating for Donald Trump. And it's quite a punishment when you understand Donald Trump's psyche. There are also other things that would be significantly deleterious to Donald Trump's future. But again, it is not about punishment. Trump's mishandling of coronavirus is impeachable. Trump's inciting of this riot is impeachable. And if he did something impeachable, he must be impeached. So I'm tired of the it would be divisive or it wouldn't be much of a punishment mindset. I'm also, by the way, tired of the mindset that we can just keep him under control for the next however many days. It's not about that at this point in time. And it's not true. No one has been able to keep him under control for any period of time. I mean, look at even last week. He incited the riot. Then he was essentially, from what we know, forced to go out there and say, the violence was bad and there will be a transition. It's like, oh, wow, he sounds slightly presidential. It was obviously disingenuous. And within hours, he was back on Twitter repeating the same the same debunked notions about voter fraud and 75 million votes and all of this other stuff. So nobody can control him. It's not about that. It's not about punishment. It's just what has to happen. And more than half of the country at this point believes that Donald Trump should be immediately removed.